Welcome to 500 Doors, your real estate podcast. Speaking with industry experts in real estate buying, selling, planning, developing, wholesaling, investing, financing, and management. If it's real estate, we're talking about it. I'm your host, Kim Hayden, an award-winning 6- and 7-figure real estate agent with over 2 decades of experience. Understanding real estate is a dream for many, that we, real estate professionals, have the ability to bring that dream to reality while building better communities and being the change we want to see. Hello and welcome back to 500 Doors. I am super stoked. We are going coast to coast in search of finding the agents that are making the difference, right? Are they an agent of change? So our next guest, as a seasoned realtor with over 21 years of experience in the greater Seattle area, Danan has had the privilege of helping countless clients achieve their real estate dreams. So let's bring him in and we're going to find out what that countless number is. Hey, Danan, how you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
I am doing absolutely fantastic, even better now that you're here.
I appreciate it. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right. So, folks, Danan even knows where Canada is. So we were talking about that before the show. And you've got a brother. I know that from before the show. But what I'd like to do is start this out getting a little bit of who is Danan? What market specifically do you serve within the Seattle area? Is it all of Seattle, or do you have a niche market? And just kind of get that little bit of background on you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, I'm Danan Powell. I'm a father. I have two sons. My oldest is just turned 25. My youngest, and he's adulting, him and his girlfriend and stuff, and they're working as a great job here locally in the film industry. And he's adulting with his girlfriend right now, and they've been together for a while, so that's going well. My youngest son is 20. He's going to be 21 here pretty soon, and he's up at the University of Washington, and I'm trying to make sure I get him through school. I've been a local realtor in the Seattle area for 21, almost 22 years now. I came out of the IT industry. I was in the .com bubble burst. And I didn't like the idea of someone up top really being in control of my destiny. And I always had a passion for real estate. I was always interested in real estate. I always had a passion for it. And I took that when we got caught up in the .com bubble burst. I took that as an opportunity to get into real estate and learn it. Just jump in, let me figure it out. And that's what I did. I saw that there was certain parts of the community that was underserved. And I wanted to educate myself and be able to help lead others and get them into homeownership.
Homeownership. And I think that's so crucial, and especially in today's world where, and this may be absolutely crazy, but I have heard estimates as much as that 250,000 units could be built on a monthly basis and still not meet the full demand in the next decade. 250,000. So yeah, and home ownership, be it a condo, a duplex, a house, whatever kind of whatever space that is so critical to the mental health and well-being of people.
I agree. The home is the foundation, right? I mean, from there is your launching pad, right? Everything starts at home. And for me, I know in my home, it's my Zen space. It's where I like to decompress. It's like, you feel comfortable. You go outside and you go fight the battles of the world every day, and you come home and you can just decompress. And I think it's so important for people to have that foundation, especially when it creates income opportunities. And what I mean by that is from appreciation standpoint, right? And people having ownership. And I think when they have ownership, there's more pride. It's reflected in the area. People take care of their homes. And I think it's just uplifting for communities in general.
Absolutely. You mentioned underserved markets. Can you expand on that just a little bit? What you saw that was being underserved and how you've stepped into that place to serve?
Yeah, great question. What I found out is that, um, I think a lot of people had a misconception that you need an 850 credit score and a lot of people with 20, 30% down. Of course, we all love that. We love that buyer. Come on in, sign up. Call me today, right? I'll get you going. But a lot of times you have people who, if they didn't have the perfect score and the right, they just kind of got shooed away, right? People would not, they were like, oh yeah, okay, well, come back when you have that, or when. And 9 times out of 10, um, we love it when we have A+ borrowers, and we love that. But sometimes you can take a B, a C, a D client and bring them up, right? And you can get them into homes, and they deserve the same amount of service. So what I saw was that there were people who had that wanted to buy and didn't really understand the path. They didn't know that, oh, okay, you got programs for different levels. And then a lot of times they were discouraged
Yep.
because they just figure, oh, it's not going to happen. And, oh, okay, it's okay. I'll come at it another time. And, that never comes a lot
No.
of times, or
And
very
there's a lot of
frequently.
fear and a lot of shame.
It's a lot of fear, a lot
Yeah.
of fear,
And
and
people
and
go,
miseducation.
and miseducation.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. And I love that there are programs in place now that allow people to claim like even their rent to rebuilding their credit, right? Or to
yeah,
expanding, like elevating their credit.
yeah,
And I love the fact that you're not afraid to take on somebody that maybe was marginalized by another agent. I remember
mm,
one of my very first clients who, by the way, 25 years later are still in the house I sold them,
mm-hmm,
and they raised both of their children in that home, and both of their children were able to go to university just through the equity of 20 some years in that home. And the reason why they ended up coming to me as a brand new agent back in 2000,
mm-hmm,
the other realtors didn't want them because this was a low vision couple
mm-hmm,
that had X amount of dollars,
mm-hmm,
and they had to be near public transit, easy
mm-hmm,
transit into the downtown core,
mm-hmm,
which meant that their area that they were going to look and buy their house in was a lower valued area. It was a
mm-hmm,
more marginalized area.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And they are, to this day, some of the loveliest people. They truly value the gift that was given them, and I loved what they taught me,
mm-hmm,
you
mm-hmm.
know? What a gift, right? Took
What?
us a little bit of work, but what a gift.
But you got it. And I have those same clients and their kids, and it changed the trajectory of not only their lives, but their family lives. And I've had those, right? And I had clients who now their kids are in college and they're going to school and they have 400, $500,000 in equity because they bought it a great time and they got in. And now that's changing the trajectory of their lives. And hopefully now my next stage is to go to those same clients and say, hey, how do we create generational wealth, right? How can you use those resources that you've got just through ownership and paying a mortgage? How can we take a portion of that and invest that in other investment properties that will pay for themselves? So that way you leave legacy for your children. Just before this, we were talking about some of the trouble areas, and how some of the inner cities and things. But if you had something to leave a legacy and change trajectory, right, you can hand to their children can hand to their children. We talked about these trusts and different things. That's how it starts. It
Yep.
starts with one property and then you build from there. So, again, I think that every person should have the same level of treatment, whether they're buying $100 million property or a $400,000, $500,000 property. It should be the same level of service. and I'm going to give them 110%, and hopefully they appreciate it, and so that's always been my approach.
That is amazing. What what is your definition of community?
You know, we all have different versions of community. I have a client and she's very active in community programs, and she's, oh yeah, Danan, you got to be involved in this, you got to be involved in that. And my way of giving back to community is serving people, like we just said. I think community is who you're around, the people that support you. It's your local coffee shop. It's the person at the gift store, the flower shop, you know, supporting those people and becoming aware of who is there, and being supportive of them, trying to spend your dollars in the local community, support and lift up your local community. I think that's what community is. It's a combination of all. I kind of say, we all come together and we all support each other. We have different functions, but without each other, there is no community. So we all serve a different function. So to me, that's it, right? How can I serve my local community? Who's around me? How can I support? How can I uplift my local community is what it's about, So to me, I hope that answered the question.
No, that's amazing. And I think that some of us have a lot lost touch with the local aspect. And
Mhm.
that really, if you go back, 10, 20, 30 years before all the technology, that was really our job is,
Yeah.
to support little Timmy's soccer team, or to, buy your gifts at the local gift shop, or, to give your clients a dinner out at the local
Hmm.
restaurant. And
Hmm.
I think that real estate agents have the opportunity of creating community, being the hub to a community, that anchor piece that, a lot of people are feeling adrift right now.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's great when you put yourself out like that. So what do you love? Like, what's a hidden gem? What's something in and around your community that you're always telling people, oh, you've got to check this out, or you've got to eat here, or you've got to see that? And people go, I had no clue. I had no clue. What's a hidden gem?
Well, I'm going to tell you, Seattle is full of them. Every time I go past and I drive, I've been a realtor here for 22 years, but there's always these nooks and crannies that I might drive past 1,000 times and never knew was there, right? And one of my favorite restaurants in Seattle is Canlis, which is a hillside restaurant with a water view looking down. Beautiful place to go and have something to eat. If I'm up north, and where I live on the north end, there's a beautiful place on the water called the Muse. It's a old, it's a coffee house. So during the day, it's a coffee house from 8 a.m. to 4. And at 4, it turns into a whiskey house, like a speakeasy. I think that's
Yeah,
if I'm saying that.
speakeasy.
So it
That's
turns into
awesome.
that, but it has amazing water views. And the house originally it was owned by the big paper mill people. It was their original house. And it has this inside, there is this special room, and it has a big walk-in safe that they've converted into and all these high-end alcohols, and it's just a really cool place to sit down and take your clients and go have a cup of coffee and do some work. So it's a great place as well. So Seattle has a lot of nooks and crannies. There's beautiful waterfalls. What I love about Seattle is you can be in the city, and then 45 minutes you can be out in the middle of nature and see eagles, and you can see, various birds and hawks. And be out in the middle of nowhere and waterfalls and things of that nature. So it's a ton of nooks and crannies and secrets here in Seattle. But those are a couple of my few places that I really like.
Ah, amazing. The speakeasy does sound fun.
Yeah,
That
it's fun.
sounds
It's
fun.
pretty fun. It's a
That's
nice place.
amazing. And I love it when a place has a story,
Yeah,
right? When it
yeah,
has that history to it. Um,
yeah.
the statistics show us that 87% of people who get a real estate license will be out of the business in the first 36 months.
Mm-hmm.
We also note the average realtor in the United States last year made just around 80,000, and that your operation costs are around 30 something, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you're looking at all your board fees, your
Yeah,
licensing, everything. So we're talking about people working 24/7 for
yeah,
50K,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So what is some advice from somebody who has done over 2 decades and successfully created community
Mm-hmm.
and client care? What is some advice that you would give agents or the prospective buyers when they're looking for the right fit to get them into a home?
Well, let's talk about. Initially, I wanted to go to the agents, but let me talk with the clients first. Um, I think as agents, you want to find somebody that's going to support you and listen to what your needs are, but help you get clear about what your needs are as well. Because a lot of times, as buyers or sellers, you know, it's easy to go with the agent or the person that's going to tickle your ear, right? And you kind of set it up perfectly, because a lot of agents get into the business and they believe, oh yeah, just tell them what they want to hear. You really should have somebody that's going to be honest with you and tell you the truth. When it comes to valuation on a property, you being a agent, you know that setting the price is very important, right? On the listing side, if you overprice a listing, depending on the market, it could have the adverse effect. You could lose a lot more money than pricing it right and having it sold. But a lot of agents are not strong enough to be honest. They're afraid of losing a listing. Case in point, I have a client right now. And I
I
have
totally agree with you.
I love it. I have a client right now who I sold her house some years ago. Now she's having some medical problems that she needs to sell. She has a bunch of equity in the house, but there's some deferred maintenance, right? There's years of deferred maintenance. And I was very candid with her and said, hey, this is what we need to do to get you maximum price. And we had a conversation last night. Of course, I sold her the place, I helped her with the place, but I wasn't telling her what she wanted to hear initially. Well, a couple weeks later, we touched bases last night, and guess what? Everything that I told her, she realized that that was the truth, and it was very factual. And she talked to me last night, and I said, well, hey, I'm a little curious. Why didn't you think I would be forthcoming with you about that? She said, no, I just wanted to check all my resources and make sure that I was getting what I need at this season in my life. And I can definitely appreciate that. But it takes us to be strong enough sometimes to say, no, I'm sorry. Your place is not worth 1.5. It's worth 900,000. And
Yep.
I can't, and if that's what we're actually going to do a disservice to ourselves by overlisting the property instead of listing it right. So I
Yep.
think finding an agent who will be honest with you, but work to get you the most and give you the facts.
Yep.
Again, I've said this before. My job is to be a consultant. I'm here to help you, give you all the information so you can make an informed decision, and then support you in that decision. So I think that's important, for buyers or
buyers,
sellers,
sellers, and the agent,
and the
right?
agents and the agents.
New agents, first thing you need to do is you need to go out and align with all the industry people that can help support your clients. I love the
Absolutely.
fact that you said, because I think giving people the opportunity to build equity within their home, because deferred maintenance, I mean,
Hmm.
most people don't realize when they buy a house that the industry average is 2% of the home value needs to be reinvested on an annual basis in
Hmm.
order to keep that home in top fighting form. So it's going to get top dollar. And most people actually do not invest that until they get ready to sell.
And then what happens is well, why do we have to do that? Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Johnson. We just went through the CMA. I showed you the comps. These are our competition. Do you see their kitchen? Do you see their bathroom? Do
Yeah.
you see their landscaping? This is who we're up against. So if we want to get you maximum value and have you sell in a timely fashion, then this is what
Yep.
we'll have to do to get you that. And I'm sorry, but
Yep.
this is what's
Blame it on
necessary.
blame it on HGTV. It has groomed an entire generation of home buyers
Yeah,
that they want the deal or the reveal. And
yeah,
there is no in between. There is
yeah.
no in between. One of my favorite clients was this older couple. They're just sweet as can be. I mean, he's a little crusty, but she loved the color mint green.
Uh-huh.
Loved the color
Wow.
mint
Wow.
green. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, are you seeing where this is going? So
Yeah.
they had their house listed in our farm area, and
Uh-huh.
it was listed with another agent, and they had already purchased another property. And it got down to the wire, and they decided to call the area expert.
Right.
I sold
Right.
all their neighbors' houses. So, okay.
Right.
So they call and I walk in and say, "Woo,
Mhm.
this is a lot of green."
Right.
Yeah. What is that? Pink and green should never be seen. These are,
Uh-huh.
there's rules here,
Yeah, yeah.
folks.
Right.
So that was their house. This is like going back 15, 16 years ago. And then about
Uh-huh.
6 years ago, they did this again. So the house that they purchased, right? They had
Mm-hmm.
gone out and purchased another property, which is now their downsized retirement property.
Mm-hmm.
Possession was coming up real fast. Their house had been sitting on the market for 3 months.
Right.
Yeah. So they reluctantly called me because the last time I had them paint top to bottom.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And guess what? I think
It's
they had
so.
leftover paint from the previous house. What's this mint green? Great house, great
Uh-huh.
location. And even the price that was on it was the right price.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's just that everybody walked in and said, and they could not look past the decorating.
Yeah.
And the decorating wasn't bad. It was just that the color palette is not today's color palette. And we were looking for a younger buyer, not an older buyer, right? So
Mm-hmm.
because we're right across the street from a school. So
Mm-hmm.
called in, and the first thing the husband goes is, "I'm not painting. I'm not painting." And I said, "Well, this is the price if you don't want to paint. And this is the price if you do want to paint." Remember our
Yep.
discussion from like 6 years ago?
Yep.
And he looks at his wife. "I told you she'd say that." So, best line ever. Well, I said, "Oh, between the two of us, we've got 3 good arms and 3 good legs. Let's just get it painted."
Uh-huh. Sometimes you gotta roll
Best
your
line.
sleeves up.
That house sold 10 days after we listed it
Yeah.
in a soft market for the
Yeah.
price it was previously listed, and sat on the market for 3 months almost.
Yeah.
And we got them moved into their new property. And yes, they had to paint top to
Yeah.
bottom.
And it's funny that you said that. So with the same client that I told you about, I went through the CMA. We looked at all the comps. We went through everything together. I showed them, here's what we need to do. Then on top of that, I actually showed them one of a great client of mine, her house. She had a house, same thing, great neighborhood, nice. It was better condition, way better condition, and it sat on the market. It was just original. It wasn't that there was anything that was wrong. It was just original. And we put it on the market at the same price. It sat on the market for 3 months, 2.5 months, 3 months. And I only tried it because she's a great client of mine. She said, I want to try it like this. We took it off the market. We made the updates, kitchens, cabinets. We repainted the entire house, did everything. We put it on the market. It sold in 5 days for $40,000 more than what we think. I think we went on originally at $995. We ended up selling at like 1.1, something like that, in 5 days, and got multiple offers. So what I tell my clients is, it's no longer your house.
I think we could write a book.
Yeah,
I think we could write a book. You are amazing. You are amazing. Yeah,
I just tell them, it's not just detach emotionally from the house. It's no longer your house. I know you like that mint green, but we have to appeal to a broader market, and we really just want a blank canvas. Just leave it kind of clean and open, and they will make any small changes that they like.
I love you. Danan, you are a rock star. I've got your socials and everything up on the screen here, and everything, folks. If you're listening to this, it will be in the comments. If you're looking at the Seattle market, Danan, where can we find you? And can you please spell out your website in case it's an audio audience and they want to know exactly how to spell your name?
Perfect. So I am Danan Powell. I'm a local. I'm a Compass agent with Compass, and my office is located in Seattle in the Fremont area, and I'll post that address for you. My website is DananSellsMoreHomes.com, and that's DananSellsMoreHomes.com. Okay, and on my social media is Your Best Seattle Area Realtor, and you can find me on Instagram. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can also find me on Facebook. I just did a whole new social media rollout, new branding. I have a brand new, beautiful site that's coming up, so I'm excited for you guys to see it. I'm just so particular about things, right? So it's probably 90% complete, and I can't wait to introduce it. It's going to have a bunch of great tools for everyone and information about local community events. So yeah, if you're looking to buy or sell, invest in the greater Seattle area, please feel free to reach out to me. I kind of call my service area North King County, South Snohomish County, right along that border, but half house will travel. If it makes sense and I can be of service to you, I will definitely do what I can to get you the right property.
Oh, Danan, you are awesome. I really do. Thank you for taking time. I know that as agents, time are our most valuable commodity. And the fact that you invested that in me and my amazing audience, I really appreciate your time.
And I love it. You've been a great host. I love your show. Nothing, just pure professional. I love it from top to bottom. And thank you for having me on. And definitely, I can't wait to see this.
Thank you for joining us at the 500 Doors, Your Real Estate Podcast. Be sure to join our Facebook group at Real Estate Success with 500 Doors. Keep on watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share, because we all know sharing is caring.